friends. Welcome back to The One Behind the Lens. I'm your host, Kate DeCoste, and today's episode is one every photographer needs to hear. I'm joined by Eric Wittman, CEO of VSCO, and we're talking about more than just editing tools. We dive into what photographers are really struggling with in 2026, why the business side of photography is often harder than the photography itself, how AI is changing the industry, and why community and mentorship still matter more than ever. We also take a look at VSCO One and how it's helping photographers simplify their workflow, save money on subscriptions, and spend more time creating. So grab your favorite drink and let's get into it. So, Eric, thank you so much for being on The One Behind the Lens.
Thank you, Kate, for having me. I appreciate you so much.
This is wonderful. Like I said before we hit record, I'm just so excited for everything that you're going to tell the audience. So I just want to get right into it.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
So, for those who may not know your story, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming CEO of VSCO?
Yeah, it has been a journey. I like to say that my career is now, measured in decades. Of basically, I started very early on, right out of high school. I joined a startup. Some people remember it called Macromedia, which was a business focused on building creative tools for creative people.
Mm,
And that's how I got my start. Even before that, though, I was doing a lot of creative endeavors. I was trying to be a professional actor and musician. Don't ask me to replay any of that stuff. Thank goodness YouTube wasn't around then. I'm sure there's some VHS tapes floating around somewhere that, I don't want people to see me doing Joseph the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. But anyway, I'm like rooted in, supporting creatives, supporting artists. And so the opportunity to have an entire career over 3 decades where I've been basically building things to help other people build things, it has been an absolute honor. And so I was introduced to VSCO about 5.5, almost 6 years ago. And, before then, I was at Adobe. I was also at Figma, a number of other startups. And for me, the opportunity to, really serve a community who I felt had been mostly underserved, which is the photography community, and having a company like VSCO who had spent, I mean, back then it was 10 years, now it's 15 plus years, really being founded by photographers and creatives and really building a business to help support that next generation of people like them. For me, it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. And so
mm.
because of my background, because of my interests, and because of this opportunity to do something with VSCO, for me, it was a dream. It's my ikigai, as I like to say.
Oh, I love that. I feel like so many creatives, they've been in like these different little parts. Like you were talking about theater, music. I did the exact same thing. I was a stage manager when I first started
Yes.
out as my career. And I feel like I just feel like we're either like in those, we're all in those creative things or we're teachers.
Yes.
I feel
Exactly.
like in that little world.
Yes. I mean, as a creative, you're constantly being curious and
Mhm.
interested in what other people are doing and what
Mhm.
is happening out there. Whether it's inspiration from nature, whether it's inspiration from other people, inspiration what's happening in media. Like it's so amazing to be a creative. Like when you meet someone who's truly a creative at heart and the energy and vibe that you get from them. I mean, you find yourself having a conversation and 3 hours later, you're like, oh, wait, I gotta go. I gotta go do some stuff. So, but I mean,
Right.
that's why I think, in this world that we're living in right now with all the change or the perceived change, you know, creativity is intrinsically a human quality.
Mm.
And it's going to be real hard to replace that,
Sure.
if ever.
Yes. Yes. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. You kind of touched on this a little bit. Um, But I know obviously you spend a lot of time talking with photographers. What are photographers struggling with most right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest area, it's not the lack of skills on how to be a better photographer or creating really high quality work. Right?
Mhm.
That I don't think I rarely hear people are struggling with that, but what I do hear people struggling with the most is really what I call the business side of things. It's how to market yourself, how to get your work out there, how to find and manage those clients, and also just run a business that's profitable so that
Mhm.
you can continue to do this for years and years or in perpetuity, right?
Mhm.
That's really where I hear most of the struggles are with photographers today.
Yeah. I think it's that thing of because being a photographer, you didn't start being a photographer because you loved the business side of it.
Yeah.
But to stay in business, you gotta do those business things and know what to do, and, I do think that is even just for my personal and then talking to other photographers on the podcast, that is definitely the pain point of what we talk about a lot.
Yeah. And it's important, I think, in this moment, especially because there are many things that are changing on the business side of things.
Mhm.
And what I love, is the community side of things. It's like when people are actually getting together and they're sharing that scar tissue and they're sharing those stories, and I think that also gets back to VSCO's roots a little bit, where it's like, hey, we were founded by people who are very accomplished. They were 10, 15 years in the photography business, in the creative business, and their goal was to give back, right? And
Mm.
to share some of that scar tissue. So that ethos is still very much what we are about today
Right.
and where we want to try and help solve more of those problems for folks.
Right. Right. So, kinda going with that too, have you seen changes in, like, photography well, really photographers' needs? Have they changed within that like, even these fat past 5 years?
Yeah. I mean, I think, it's gone, I think the conversation has really become more about visibility.
Mm.
Right? I think,
Mhm.
years and years ago is, "Hey, get your presence on Instagram," sort of try to run that whole game, or, create your own portfolio website and, SEO optimize that, right?
Mhm.
Well, I think we all know the rules of those games have changed dramatically, right? I mean, Instagram is no longer really a place for photographers.
Mhm.
It's really about, consumption. It's a TikTok alternative. And the SEO game has dramatically changed because of, AI search. And so now I think people are really trying to not only think about visibility, but then think about, ownership. Right? How do I own my brand? How do I own those relationships with my clients? How do I, really own my business and not try to build something on rented land, which is kind of what people have experienced with Instagram and trying to SEO optimize for Google. So that's I think really where people are seeing these shifts that are happening and are trying to adapt and honestly in real time because it's all moving very, very quickly for folks.
Yeah. And it is kind of crazy how it has to be in real time and to be like, "Okay, what we did just a year ago, really, not even 5, is not working anymore," and how you do have to, like you just have to do that shift of even if you still are say, using Instagram, really, like, putting your photos up there aren't everything because like you said, it's more like a TikTok alternative, and so people are wanting video, they want, the for photographers, maybe behind the scenes type stuff, and as some photographers, it's like, I don't want to do
Yes.
that. I don't wanna be in front, and, you know, hashtags aren't a thing anymore, and that was, like, the big, huge thing, and yeah, it's just kinda crazy how you I don't wanna use the word like we have to scramble, but you do have to keep up with everything that's
Yeah,
going on.
you have to adapt, right? I mean,
Mhm.
and understanding, okay, this is a platform I'm building, my representation on. That platform, what's their motivation? What is their business about? And we know this with Instagram and Meta, right? I mean, they're unabashedly saying, "No, we're in the advertising business, and we're
Mhm.
about engagement and eyeballs." And
Mhm.
so, whatever it takes to do that, we are going to do that.
Mhm.
Whereas, photographers that were using Instagram and still to some degree are using it as a business platform. Well, it's not designed as a business platform,
Right.
right? That's
Right.
why it's interesting to hear more and more photographers really start to build up their presence on LinkedIn. Because
Mm.
the potential clients, maybe it's brands if you're in the commercial side of things, event photography, right? Like those clients, those potential clients are actually more on LinkedIn than they are on Instagram when it comes to sort of the business mindedness. So yes, adapting, very, understanding, these
Mhm.
underlying platforms and what's motivating them, and then adapting, to a different platform or in addition to the existing platforms is now more important than ever before.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. And I think, like, you touched on that where depending on who your audience is, like someone who's corporate, commercial photography, headshots, they're probably, yeah, they're probably not looking for something on, they might not even be on Instagram,
Yes,
but
exactly.
LinkedIn, yeah.
Yes.
I want to touch just a little bit before we really get into VSCO 1, a little bit about what you kind of think about AI, because it's just kind of, it's
It's a thing.
talking about adapting.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you see AI impacting photographers and creative professionals?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I don't believe that AI is gonna be replacing photographers. Yes, there are segments of photography. Stock photography is a good example that was being used by marketing folks who may be running quick ad campaigns and they were just pulling off the shelf stock photography over, and that was good enough. So maybe, doing a specific photo shoot for that, you know, that use case doesn't make sense anymore. But in general, what I am seeing and I'm hearing from the brand, the client side, is that there's a higher demand for content than ever before, and
Mm,
that there still is a challenge to get really high quality, authentic, content to be created for their respective needs. So that's really on the commercial and the brand side. On the like the personal side, I mean, events are taking off, right? It's a compound annual growth rate of 22% right now for events.
oh,
Weddings,
wow.
there's growth in weddings, right? So as we're sort of still recovering a little bit from COVID, right? Like people want to be in person. They
Mhm.
want to be interacting. They're hungry for relationship building. Conferences, trade shows, corporate events, you name it. Like the event side of things is booming. Pet photography, that's like the highest growth segment of photography right now. In fact, my
Yes.
chief of staff just like had a whole photo shoot with all her pets.
Oh, wow.
And, like, paid found a photographer who specialized in this, paid for the photographer. So, again, AI, like, you're not gonna do the photo. AI is not replacing the photo shoot, and companies that say, like, "Skip the photo shoot or replace the photo shoot," they're insane. They're not
Mhm.
grounded in reality. Um, what I do believe is that AI can help with some of those mundane tasks. So, our philosophy from day one has been like, "No, humans are the center of this all from a creative standpoint, from a judgment standpoint, client relationship standpoint, humans are at the center of that." Right?
Mhm.
But AI
Mhm.
can assist with some of those things that are more mundane, and you hear it in areas like culling, you hear it in some of the business management side. We actually there was a, independent survey that we ran with people who were outside of the VSCO ecosystem, and these were folks who were, enthusiasts, photography enthusiasts. They were aspiring professionals and they were professionals. So it was a couple of different cohorts of people. And we found that, especially even with the pros, like over 80% of them were using some type of AI tools already in their day to day.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's I believe it's a complement. It's not a replacement.
No, no. And I agree, and I also think we just need to embrace what can actually help us. Like you said, we are using it in some degree. Um, and I feel like when I talk to a lot of photographers, they're probably that they feel overwhelmed by, like, all the tools that they're using, and I think it's because we're thrown out, like, here's this, and this is gonna help you, and this'll help you in this capacity, and this is gonna help you in this capacity, to run your business. Is that something that you're hearing as well?
Yeah, I think, over the years, right? I mean, photographers to run a successful photography business have had to accumulate a lot of different tools from a lot of different companies. And, reminder, I mean, most photographers are solopreneurs, right? I mean, these are generally they're generally small businesses, and
Mhm.
they don't have an in-house IT department who's going to vet all these different tools or run some RFP process to like figure out what's the best one. They don't have that,
Right.
a facility, nor do they have the time to do that. And so, most adoption happens through word of mouth. We all ask each other, "Hey, what did you use for this? And what about that? What do you think about these tools?" And so, I think now that it's easier to build software than ever before because of these AI assisted tools, there are now just more choices out there, and it is, I think, become exponentially confusing. So
Mhm.
there's more companies out there are more tools out there. People are just trying to understand what's real and what's not, and, I think we've been seeing this problem even ourselves as a company. I mean, we're less than 100 people, so we're still a fairly small business, and so that challenge is one that I think is real, it's palpable. People don't like these fragmented, products that they're trying to work across. The business models that don't really suit their needs, the subscription costs have gotten out of control for a lot of folks. And so I do think has grown into a real problem, an acute problem for folks. And, we believe we're in a great position to try and solve for some of that.
Well, yeah, definitely think you are, and, you know, when I before VSCO 1, it was that thing where someone would be like, "Well, what do you use for this?" I'd be like, "I use this." And then, "But then what do you use for this?" "Well, I use this."
Yes.
And I did have where I was like, when I looked at my books and how many subscriptions I was paying for, and it was tools that I did actually need, but it was one company, then the next company, and then the next company. So let's just get into it. Let's talk about VSCO 1 and what is it?
Yeah. So VSCO One for us is really that singular system, that operating system that photographers can use to basically do everything they need to be successful as a professional photographer. And, for us, it's, VSCO has been around for a long time. We've got people that have been using VSCO for a decade plus, and then we have people who are really early on in that journey. Maybe they've got one or two paid gigs and they're just getting started. And so with VSCO One, what we want to do is really provide that singular system for all those folks that give them everything they need from business education on how to run a successful photography business, uh, best of breed creative tools, which is what VSCO is known for, including, we brought back some of the Lightroom presets, including some first ever Capture One presets. We have a galleries product, so being able to deliver that work to clients is especially important. We also know like client collaboration is really important. So we actually have a mood boarding tool that you can collaborate with clients as you're going through that ideation phase of a shoot. And then we have a portfolio site tool as well. So if you want to quickly leverage the assets that you already have on VSCO and generate a portfolio website very quickly that's SEO optimized, we've and you can bring your own custom domain as well. So if folks have, you know, katesamazingphotography.com, great, bring it, use it. And then lastly, we have a product called Workspace that's built into VSCO One, which is really about, helping you manage like the mundane business aspects of things from contracts to invoicing, billing, regular client communications that are automated in a way that like feel natural and make sense. So it is one complete offering, one complete system that's nice and tightly integrated. So all these products work and talk to each other. And it's at a very approachable price point. It's $500 a year, which we find that most people are paying between $800 a year up to $3,000 a year on all these various subscription services that give you exactly what we have in VSCO One.
Yes, and I think too, I have so many things that you were saying, and I kept just nodding at you.
It's good.
But I
It's big. It's a really big thing. Like no company has ever tried to do what we're doing before.
yeah.
People call us crazy, but we don't like to say that. We are bold, we're ambitious, and we love the photography community and want to support them in the best way we can. And that's why we did VSCO One.
Time out, friends. If you're a photographer, how many different platforms are you using to run your business? Editing software, client galleries, contracts, invoicing, your website, a CRM. What if you could bring it all together? That's exactly what VSCO One does. It's built for photographers and helps you manage your clients, book sessions, send contracts and invoices, edit, deliver galleries, and even showcase your work, all from one connected platform. If you're ready to simplify your workflow and spend more time creating, I've included my VSCO One referral link in the show notes. Go check it out and see how it can transform the way you run your photography business. But I also am just loving that you have the education. Like, that's amazing.
Well, I mean, back to how we started our conversation, right? Which is like, some of the biggest challenges we're hearing from photographers. It is more the business side of
Hmm.
things. And, last year we brought on the team from the freelance photographer. And, Paul Weaver is the principal there. He is a very successful for over a decade commercial photographer. And, he sort of similar philosophy to how we were founded, which is, hey, I've been successful in my career. I want to give back. Like, let's not
Mm,
be opaque about the wisdom and the tools and tricks of the trade. Like, let's give that back. And so he created a program and
mm.
so, that is part of the offering now. So we still have the coaching part of the freelance photographer, which is a separate offering, but all of those key nuggets, that wisdom and that knowledge that we've basically taken and integrated into the VSCO One subscription. And so it is everything. It's really everything that folks need to be successful as a pro photographer.
Yeah, yeah. I'm guessing you've talked to, I mean, I'm like geeking out over here, but I'm sure you've talked to so many other photographers. What have been like their feedback with the creation of the platform?
Yeah, and first and foremost is we get a lot of thanks. We get a lot of people who are like, "Thank you for trying to simplify this. We know how hard it is to do what you're doing," because, even some of these photographers, they've built software in the past and, everyone thinks you can just vibe code this stuff and, "Oh, I can build my own CRM or I can build my own galleries tool." Like, "Okay, good luck." Like, I
Right.
encourage you to go try it,
Yes,
and then we're
yes.
and then we're still here for you. We
Sure.
still have your back because building things with a great experience at scale that work and are integrated across multiple products, like it's hard. I think this is one of the reasons why no other company has tried to do this before until now, is because it's
Mhm.
a really, really hard problem. And so I think that's the first thing is like, hey, we appreciate what you're trying to do, both from an approachability standpoint, like make this integrated system very approachable, and you're making it a reasonable price point for us because like the costs on the subscription side have gotten so expensive over even
Mhm.
just the last couple of years. And you're like making this, a fraction of the cost if I were to buy all these things individually. So, I mean, hand over heart, that's what we're doing. That's what we're really trying to do is get more people to be successful with a photography career. That this is something that we also hear and see a lot. Like people will start out The average life, career span of a photographer is 1 to 3 years.
Mhm.
And that's like, what a shame, right? You
Mhm.
spent all that money, all that time. This is a passion and interest of your, and in many cases, these people are brilliant photographers. It's just like, it's the business side of things that's so difficult for them.
Yeah.
So we're trying to democratize more of this for everyone.
That is I love that because, like you said, the 1 to 3, and then, like you said, they're probably are all wonderful photographers, they just don't know, and you're gonna have that burnout of, "What am I doing?" And I'm not making any money, and because you don't know, and, like, when I became a photographer, I had no idea. On the business side, I had no clue what I was doing, and I definitely learned the hard way, and, um was lucky to have I had joined some, like, photography groups, like we were talking about, people like conferences and things like that. I was lucky enough that I did all of that, and I honestly don't think if I didn't have a community, I don't know if I would still
Mhm.
be here, and so I think even having that inside VSCO 1 again, like, that's just a that wonderful perk that I don't think we think is that valuable until we're really in it.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, I think both in person community as well as online community. I mean, that's one of the reasons why people sometimes land with Visco first. I mean,
Mhm.
yes, we're known for our editing tools and our presets, but people come for the community. They know that, oh, what they're going to get is not this engagement hamster wheel. Like
Mhm.
it's not this algorithmically driven thing, right? This is about people. This is
Mhm.
about people discovering, connecting with other people so that they can actually better support each other, without all the ego and, the bullying that you can see elsewhere. I mean, those are very much our roots. And so again, it gets back to us as a business, like what's our intrinsic motivations? It's like we want to help photographers become successful. And, some of
Yeah.
that starts with the community side, just like getting to
Mhm.
know each other. We're also doing a lot more in-person events. We're sponsoring more conferences. We're showing up at more conferences. We're sponsoring a lot of photo walks all around the globe
Mm.
too. We actually just did one in Africa about a month ago, and
Oh,
so
wow.
it's been awesome. Like, I mean, Visco is such a global community. I mean, speaking
Mhm.
of like getting connected and getting inspiration from other photographers around the globe, we're everywhere. I mean, hundreds of millions of people around the globe. And gosh, there's some just stunning, amazing people. Like, if I don't govern myself well, I'll go into the Visco app and I'm just like looking at people's work, connecting with them, not getting ads and pop ups and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, I am so inspired. I like need to pick up my camera and go outside and do some work for a bit. Sadly, I can't. I'm CEO, so I don't have a lot of time for that.
I was gonna say, wh do you have a lot of time on your free time, especially right now?
Yeah, sadly, no. I mean, I do really love, like, I'll go to these photo walks and show up, and people are like, "Oh, yeah, what do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I work for Visco." And they're like, "Okay." And then they'll look me up. They're like, "Wait, you're the CEO of Visco? That what?" Like,
You
no,
don't
this
just
is
work for VSCO.
yeah, this isn't undercover boss or anything. I'm just literally, I want to enjoy the community. I kind of want, so yeah. Sadly, very busy job. I also have 4 kids and a puppy. Life is busy.
Sure. Yes, yes. But I love though that you're talking about being inspired, and you kind of hit on something too where we're not when you're on Visco and you are being inspired by all these photographers and you're not getting the pop-ups. You're not getting and I feel like too we've kind of I mean I feel like I'm sure there are it still can be anything can have that negativity, but I feel like right now we're in a space where photographers are really trying to help other photographers
Yes.
and just be a community of like, "Hey, this is what I do. This is how I do it," or, "I can help you." So I feel like with then having Visco, it's that same it's just amplifying it, and then it's just that community of finding those people that are wanting to just be just be a part of something, like,
Yes.
amazing.
Like, exactly. I mean, if you spend some time talking with some of the folks that will they'll say they grew up on VSCO, right? In many cases, some people like, yeah, maybe they're in their teens and they jump on VSCO, and it's sort of like this safe place for them to express themselves creatively, and that's also
Sure.
great.
Yeah.
But then they start to get more intentional, more serious about what they want to do. Maybe they take a photography class and they suddenly realize, oh, I really love photography. Oh, wait, you can actually make money from this? Okay, like I want to keep growing. And so many people, Joe Greer, he's a good example where, he started early on, on VSCO and, help him connect with other people, help him sort of create that amazing look that he has, connect with other people, understand like, what's it like to, be commercially successful, as a photographer, right?
Right.
And that's why he still like loves and works with us to this very day, and he's one of the top photographers in the world. So we're very blessed because we get these folks early on. They feel safe in Visco's community,
Mhm.
and they're able to develop themselves and then continue to sort of grow as they want to, right?
Mhm.
And back to Visco One, this is also the opportunity for them to basically say, okay, like it's not just I start on Visco and then I graduate. I have to go to all these other tools that are
Right.
disconnected. Like I can now graduate to Visco One and continue that amazing journey that I'm on.
Right. Right. And then just have the one platform.
Exactly. Just and then simplification, integrated tools, cost, right?
Yeah.
Those are all incredibly valuable.
And when you say the cost, I know that, when sometimes when you look at something and you're like, $500, but then, you have that sticker shock of something.
Yeah.
But I think too, sometimes we're not looking at if we're doing like a month, maybe you're doing a monthly subscription on something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks low because it's a month, might be monthly, but when you actually add it up for a whole year, or if it is just something that just like every year, it's just re-subscribing you and you're not maybe paying attention as much until you get to like tax season or something, then you're going, "Oh, that's how much I'm spending on these 4, 5, however many things you're using." So, yeah, when you say $500, that really is, like, really
Yeah.
nothing.
Exactly. And this is one of my favorite questions to ask, especially people who've been in the business for a while. Like, how much do you spend on your subscription? I'm like, oh, well, I only think I spend this. Oh, wait. And then I have that. Oh, and then I have that. And then I have that. And they just see their eyebrows go up like, oh, dang, I'm probably spending like 3 grand, 4 grand
Mhm.
a year. I mean, I talked to one photographer, I mean, like really like one of the top wedding photographers in the game. And he told me he spends $8,000 a year on Dropbox alone.
Oh, wow.
So, you start to think about when all these things are individual bills, you don't really put it together.
Right.
But when you start to bring it all together and really like take stock, this gets back to like running the business side of things, right?
Mhm,
If you
mhm.
set a budget for yourself on how much you're going to spend every year on these subscriptions, and you looked at like what you're actually spending, or actually go through your credit card bills every month, and you go, why do I have 5 Netflix subscriptions here? Like, what's going on? Like, take the audit. You realize how much people are actually spending.
With that community and connection and kinda what we're just kinda talking about, what do you think photographers are missing when they try to build their careers completely on their own?
Mhm. Well, I mean, it gets back a little bit to the, that mentorship. Right? Like,
Mhm,
I think there's some of the soft skills that are so important
mhm,
for photographers, and, I think it first starts, like, you gotta build that community, you gotta build that network,
mhm,
because still the number one way that people find work is word of mouth. And
mhm,
so, maybe it's like, "Hey, I need a second shooter for, a wedding," or, "Wow, I had a conflict that just came up. Can you take over this gig?" Like, it's those types of opportunities that get created when you build that community and that network.
mhm,
And, sometimes I think it's for folks who are more introverted, and, I have a lot of friends who, especially photographer friends who are more introverted, and it is stressful. And I recognize like it
mhm.
is stressful for them to go out and do that. But, there are many ways and many tools out there to help you and to support you so that you can put yourself out there. I mean, maybe you start by getting involved in a few online communities or your local, photography group. I mean, there's this amazing one that local to us called Cameras and Coffee Club, and they're starting to like sprout up everywhere. There's always like a cameras and coffee thing in some city somewhere, right? I feel like that's
Photographers and coffee. Yeah, I
yes,
feel like
it's the peanut butter and chocolate, right? It's
yeah,
like it's
yeah,
so good together. Great, here we go.
yeah.
But there's a lot of those groups out there, and they know like part of their the reason for being is to embrace new people, bring
Mhm,
people in, and they're like, I mean, they love having new people come in, and so that's a good place to start. And then maybe start to build yourself up. Maybe spend more time on LinkedIn. Maybe spend more time and go to some of these amazing shows that are out there. Whether it's a WPPI or an imaging or some of the smaller events that are around the United States and, by the way, around the globe.
mhm,
So definitely like build that network and build those soft skills that help you get connected with others. I think that is more important now than ever before. And if you get that foundation right,
mhm.
it's less about trying to become the best photographer, because it's not necessarily the best photographers that have the best photography businesses.
I was just listening to another podcast, another photography friend that has Renee Bowen
Oh yes,
has a
love Renee.
podcast, and she was kinda talking about that. She was like, "You and someone else in your town, you could be great photographers. You can both be technically amazing, but there's a reason why maybe that she kept kinda saying
Yeah.
she might look maybe on Instagram, she looks successful, and she was talking about too of, like, you might not know if they're successful or not, but that there's a reason why, and then I think you kinda touched on it of, like, the human side,
Yes.
and a lot of people might not be, say, buying photography as much as they're buying, like, that connection with you,
Yes.
and how they feel about you, and then with the business side, again, of, like, what are you charging for certain things, and looking at it all in you have to just kinda look at it in different ways, different set of eyes, or have somebody help you.
Exactly. Exactly. I do think that's where mentorship is really important. So if you're just getting started and, you can find that right senior mentor, Renee's a good example, or
Yeah.
like, even what Paul has been doing with the freelance photographer, like, it's interesting. Half of the people who are in the freelance photographer program, they're new. Like
Mm,
maybe they got their first gig, but then the other half are people who've been doing it now for 4, 5, 6 years, and they're now just trying to rebuild themselves. Like maybe they're taking a pivot from one genre to another, or so I think mentorship is so important. I mean, this is effectively like the trades business, because these are mostly solopreneurs. It can be a very lonely place as a
mhm,
solopreneur. And so getting back to like building that network, finding key mentors, like being proactive and seeking people out, and being curious, right? So
mhm.
like you don't have to put up a front. Like, yeah, maybe your Instagram looks amazing and like, oh my gosh, that person, I can't reach out to them. Like I've had, people hear stories about people reaching out to, people with X million followers, and, hey, they respond right back. "Oh, how can I help?"
Mm,
Like, "Hey, can I
mhm.
just carry your bag on a shoot one time and see how you do things?" Like, absolutely. If you're in LA, happy to help you there. So it's things like that, like, you just gotta kinda put yourself out there a little bit as, difficult as that can be sometimes, it's so critical.
It is. And I think too, you just have to remember, like, the worst thing they can say is no,
Yeah.
and you that's it's not gonna you're not it's gonna strike you down dead or, like,
No,
anything like that, like, it's but putting yourself out there, and I feel like you now, say, like, DMing or email, like, we have a lot easier way to reach out to somebody.
absolutely. I mean, I think, that is one really nice thing about,
Mhm.
the world of technology that we're living in. It's like it's kinda made it very easy to approach a number of folks.
Mhm.
And yeah, you don't have to like go to the conference and try to network people. Like you can just hit a bunch of people like, oh, I see you're a speaker at this conference in a topic I'm really interested in. Hey, would you mind if I just did a 30-minute Zoom with you? And
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, 9 times out of 10, people are like, oh yeah, how can I help? I think
Yeah.
like at the human level, like humans want to help other people.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
And so I think, as long as you get the time, like, and a lot of people make the time. I do that as well. People hit me up all the time, like, "Hey, I got a startup idea, and can I run and by you?" Sure, I've got 20 minutes. Let's talk.
I love that.
Yeah,
Well, and even, like, when I started my podcast, I was like, "Wait, I just, like, have to ask people to try to"
yeah,
and I'm like, "If I don't know them, or" and then, I actually had someone kinda like a mentor and, kind of helping me with it, and she was like, "Yes, you just email them." Like, it's not hard.
no, totally, totally. I
And
know.
again, they might not respond to you, or they might say, "No, thank you." But most of everybody has been super excited and been like, "Yes, I would love to sit and chat for an hour."
Yes, yes,
So,
yeah,
including
yeah. It's
me.
like we tend to create these narratives in our head, like, oh, what if it says no? What if could it like just do the thing,
Yeah.
just do the thing, and then you'll
Yes.
learn. Like,
Yes. Yes. Going back to VSCO 1, is there somewhere that people can go like and look at just to kind of get a feel of it?
yes. So first of all, go to visco.co, our website, and Visco One is quite prominent there right now. There are actually a number of videos that you can watch, so you can see all the different products and how things integrate. Another thing that we've tried to do that's very different is every one of the products is available freemium. So you can actually just get in, try the products, use them. Even Workspace, the CRM tool, we have a free version of that, so you can get in and start to use that. And just check it out. That's what we want people to do. We want people to come check us out. Like the store is open. Come check us
Yeah.
out. Try a few samples, and if you like it, well, great. Then feel free to upgrade.
Oh, I like that. I like that you can like kind of just look around in there and see if it's for you,
Yes.
and then you can hit that button.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So Eric, I have a little section of my podcast and it's a rapid fire.
Okay.
Are
I'm
are you
nervous.
are you are you
I'm
No,
nervous but
I
ready.
okay, okay. I'm gonna say they're pretty easy. They're pretty easy. So,
Okay.
coffee or tea?
Well, tea. I'm a matcha person.
Oh, matcha. Okay. Okay.
I got my morning ritual.
Got it. Yes, yes. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird during the week. It's the only way I get my workouts and stuff in before
Mm,
the kids, awake. But I think during the weekends, I'm a night owl.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Film or digital?
I'm getting back into film right now again because that's where I started.
Mhm.
Sorry, dating myself, but oh, it's so humbling. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, how many times have I misloaded I have an old Leica MP and misloaded it, or light leaks coming through. So yeah, film, but it's humbling.
Favorite app on your phone right now?
Okay, I'm biased, so but it's also hard to pick one of your children. But I'm gonna say Visco Capture right now.
Mm.
It's just a lot of fun to be able to shoot with presets and effects in real time. And it's a totally free app, so anyone can download it and use it. So yeah, that's my favorite app right now.
One business book every entrepreneur should read.
Oh, there are
Mm.
so many books out
I know,
there.
that is kind of a
um, there's an oldie, but a goodie called E-Myth or The E-Myth. I think there might be like a revisited version. Michael Gerber.
Mhm.
Um, it's really good for small business owners to think about working on your business versus working in your business.
Mm.
I think like a lot of photographers sort of get stuck with like just the day to day of the shoot and all the things. But at the end of the day, like it's probably more important. I think this is where people who have longer term photography business, they spent a lot of time also thinking about working on the business itself.
Mhm.
Right? So, like,
Mhm.
what your brand is, type of clients you're looking, to attract, your portfolio. So, I think it's a different kind of mental model of working on the business versus working in the business, but that was an oldie and a goodie. And then I think there's another, one that might be more modern, called Clockwork, which is the same sort of principle, like I'm working on the business versus working in the business. So,
Mm.
those would be 2 to check out.
Okay. Best piece of advice you've ever received?
Ha. Back to, us as theater kids,
Yeah,
drama is for the theater, not for building businesses.
that is good.
So I have a personal philosophy about I like to build teams of people that I work with where, these are modest overachievers.
Mhm.
So it just no ego. We're here. Here's the work that we want to get done. Here's the outcomes we're hoping to achieve. Let's just figure out a way to work together and make it happen.
Mhm. Mhm. Last one. One thing people would be surprised to learn about you.
Oh, I already told you about the 4 kids and the dog thing, so
Yes, yes.
people think I'm crazy for that. I don't have a college degree.
Mm.
I've been working in tech for 30 plus years and, dabbled a little bit in college, but, I think honestly, what I wanted to do, especially, like, I knew I wanted to run a company or businesses, the best way to do is just school of hard knocks, is to, like,
Mhm.
learn by doing.
Mhm.
So I don't have a college degree.
I love that. I think that was one of the things for me. So I do have a degree in, well, in theater, like I told you that that's what then I was doing, like, I was like, "Oh, I don't know what I think it was the whole thing. I was turning 30, and I was like, "Is this what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life?" Like, I was living in New York, and I was going from job to job, which I was, I'm not it was wonderful. It was a wonderful time, and I was lucky I was getting gigs I was working regularly, but I was like, "Am I constantly gonna, like, get a gig and then have to be looking for the next, like, who knows if I would ever hit the Broadway, time where you would have months or years of work."
Yeah.
And I was like, what should I do? And so I just decided to go back home to Nebraska where I'm still. And just like I thought I was just taking a break from theater, and I had always loved taking pictures. I wouldn't say I was a photographer, but I was always the person that had a camera. I was always documenting anything that was happening. And so I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna go." And I took some classes at this local, community college, and they had film, and I was like, "I'm gonna learn film classes." Like, I took, when you're a kid, when again, dating, I mean, that's all we had was the
Yeah,
film.
that's it.
And so I was taking those, and then I was still working in theater. Like, I had gone to Massachusetts, and I was working in the Berkshires, and I was taking photos constantly of the actors when we weren't in rehearsal or anything like that. And one of them was like, are you gonna do this for a career?" And I was like, "Well, I don't have a degree. Like, I don't have a," and she was like, "You don't have to have a degree. Like, I think you can just do it." And it was literally like that was a summer, and like came back to Nebraska, and then that fall, I started the business in the sense of, got a website, and like, just started asking anyone I knew, "Can I photograph you?"
Yeah.
Just to build that portfolio. But that's
Yeah,
basically that person saying that to me. You don't have to have a degree. And I think now it's even more like I feel like back when I was younger, it was kind of like when you were in high school, and then it was like, well, now you go to college. And I'm kind of liking today where, yes, that could be your step, but it doesn't have to be. And
exactly.
it's not this huge thing that we're it's being pushed so much.
Yes. No, I think that's right. I mean, I think part of it is an artifact of seeing so many, kids, now adults. There's a whole generation who went to college, accumulated a ton of debt because that's what they were told they needed to do, and it's not panned out well for them.
Mhm.
Meanwhile,
Mhm.
you have the trades, which are perfectly good. I mean, I
Mhm.
have a cousin, one of my younger cousins, who is making an insane amount of money being an electrician.
Yes.
I'm like, "Good on you, mate. Like, that's
Yeah.
what you should be doing. Go pursue that. You shouldn't feel don't be apologetic. That's a
Right.
great career." So
Yeah.
and you don't have to have a degree. I have heard that as well from a few people. It's like, "Oh, well," and like, I'm like, "Well, your work is outstanding. Like, well, why don't you go pursue this as a full-time profession?" And there's, like, a bunch of, kind of reasons, like, excuses, that people build up in their own, like, mental narrative, and something nudges them, right?
Mhm.
Or something
Mhm.
needs to nudge them,
Mhm.
just in order for them to kind of make that call. But I mean, gosh, there's so many talented people out there, and I wish they would pursue it.
Sure.
But yeah, sometimes people just need a little extra nudge. They need some support, and if we can, I would say, like, a dream of mine is if we can, increase even just by a few percentage points the overall creator economy GDP,
Mhm.
then I think that would be magical because I think you'd create millions of opportunities for a lot of people, and that would make me feel really good.
I have just one more question for you before we go.
Let's go.
What kind of dog do you have? It's
I like
probably
to
the most
joke.
important question of this podcast episode.
I like to joke. It's a designer dog, so we got a golden doodle.
Okay.
His name is Cooper Maverick,
Oh.
and he is adorable. We have a love-hate relationship. Um, I think our family is down a few socks. That's the hate part of the relationship. The love part of the relationship is, it's as he's gotten older, he's still got the energy, but he's starting to, like, just, like, do more with us,
Mm, mhm,
instead of
mhm.
doing more to us.
Yeah.
So it's he's starting to he's becoming fun. So, yeah,
I
Cooper
love that.
Maverick.
Cooper Maverick. I love it. Well, Eric, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
This was a great conversation.
Yeah, ditto. I appreciate it. Always happy to have more of them too. Let me know.
Okay, perfect. I will hold you to it.
Yeah, let's go.
Wow. I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. One thing that really stuck with me is Eric's reminder that the photographers who build long term businesses aren't just investing in their craft, they're investing in themselves, their community, and the business side of photography, too. If you'd like to learn more about VSCO One, I've included my referral link in the show notes so you can explore everything we talked about today. And if you're looking for more support growing your photography business, be sure to visit my website. You'll find some resources, education, tools created just for photographers to help market their business, build confidence, and spend more time doing what they love. As always, thank you so much for listening. And if you enjoyed today's episode, I'd love for you to leave a review or share it with another photographer who could use a little encouragement. Until next time, keep showing up, keep creating, and I will see you right here behind the lens.
Shut up